Good morning. The time is 11:07 on August 17th, 2023. The matter at hand is FIC number 2023-0132. My name is Commissioner Christopher P. Hankins. I'm the designated hearing officer. With me to assist me is Attorney Kevin Munn. He's FOI counsel. Would the parties please identify themselves?
My name is Robert Lee.
Thank you. And you're the complainant, sir?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And we tried to contact, this was mailed, was that correct, Attorney Munn? Mailed to the attorney of record in this, the respondent's attorney of record in this matter?
Correct. It was mailed certified mail, and we confirmed through the tracking number that it was delivered.
Okay. And Mr. Lee, I take it that you received it, this matter, notice of this hearing through the regular mail?
Regular mail and email.
And email, thank you. And this was emailed, Attorney Munn, to the respondents?
Correct.
And also this morning, right before we came in, a little bit after 11 o'clock, our secretary from the Freedom of Information Commission telephoned the respondent's attorney, got no answer. Okay? I'm not going to waste your time, Mr. Lee. We're going to have the hearing. And, I came up here, I woke up at the crack of 9 o'clock to get here, and I'm, you came here all the way from Derby. So we're
No, actually, I came from Westbrook this morning.
Okay, Westbrook? Okay.
Yes, that's where I'm staying right now.
Oh, okay. All right. You can go back there fairly soon. But we're going to have the hearing, all right? And have you ever had an FOI hearing before, sir?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Basically, I'll just give it a short shrift. What this is the procedure is as outlined in the transmittal memorandum. Okay? I'm going to take testimony from you. I'm going to ask, just a short narrative. I've read the complaint. We're going to put in evidence, any exhibits you have. I'm going to put you under oath. Okay? So let's do that now. All right. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear, affirm, or declare that the evidence you should give concerning the case now in questions will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Would you state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Robert Lee. My home address is 16 Egret Drive, Palm Coast, Florida, 32137.
And do you have any exhibits that you want to put into the record? We normally go off the record, but we'll just keep a complete record on the record.
Yes.
Well, it would be your request, I take it, sir? Your email request?
Well, I assume that was part of the...
No, it has to actually go into we have to actually have a separate record for it, okay, to make them exhibits.
Oh, okay. I didn't bring 3 copies of that.
No, that's okay. Hold a second, please.
He wants to know if we can wait a while for 20 minutes or do a continuance. He could be here in another 20 minutes, he said. But it wasn't on his calendar, he says.
It was on Mr. Lee's calendar.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll give him till 11:30, but we already started it. We'll stop it. We haven't taken any evidence yet, but we'll start again back at 11:30 because everyone else got notice of this. Okay, thank you.
So do you want off the record?
Yeah, we're going to go off the record. Mr. Lee, I apologize for this, but the way I look at it is, he could appeal it and he could ask for a rehearing, make up some sort of excuse, okay, as to why he's not here, other than it's not on the record. Okay?
City of Derby hasn't responded to anything with regards to this case.
That's fine. I mean,
not even to the ombudsman.
Well, you're not ex parte, so we're on the record now. But anyway, what we're going to do when we get back, we're going to have him just, say his appearance at 11:30. We're going to start come hell or high water. 11:30. Okay.
Good.
Fair enough, Attorney Munn?
Yeah, that
Okay.
makes sense.
All right, because everybody got notice of it. We're still on the record. Okay, so what we're going to do is you're going to put your exhibits into the record. If they have any exhibits, then we're going to have you do a short narrative testimony. Okay?
Sure.
And I apologize on his behalf, sort of. Okay? But he should have been here. It should have meant enough to him to be here because everyone else is here.
Well, not only, in my opinion, not only him, but either the mayor or Walt Mayhew, who's a staff person for the mayor.
The
So,
staff counselors,
Right.
chief of staff, yes.
right. So sending it to, presumably the attorney's showing up because he's the representative of both the mayor and Walt Mayhew.
Okay. So,
Presumably they were supposed to ask him to go in their place because they're the ones who was asked to come to this hearing.
well, Mr. Lee, right now, we'll just,
I mean, is that true?
Mr. Lee, I don't know. Okay.
The letter was to the mayor and the letter was to Mayhew.
At this point in time, we're going to go off
Okay.
the record, and we'll reconvene at 11:30.
Okay.
Okay, there's a cafeteria over here on the right if you want to go get a cup of coffee or something.
Fine at the moment.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be back in a minute.
Sure.
Okay, we're reconvening. It's 11:19. Our office secretary got a response back from the respondents' counsel. Attorney Munn, would you recount that, please?
Sure. So the respondents' counsel called back and said he was not going to make it by 11:30 and asked if he could dial in to conduct the hearing remotely, but our hearings currently are in person only, and any request for a remote hearing would have had to have been made prior to the hearing and demonstrate specific circumstances why a remote hearing would have been necessary, and that was not done in this case.
Okay, and Attorney Munn, again, I believe I said this before, but I mean, the complainants here, the complainant got email notice of this hearing, and he also got written notice of this hearing. And I take it the same would happen for the respondents' counsel. Is that correct?
That's correct. If it went by email and mail to the complainant, it should have done the same to the respondents. And as I mentioned earlier, we did confirm that from the certified mail tracking number that the notice was delivered to the respondent's attorney.
Okay, and it's the responsibility of the respondents' counsel to put it on their diary to make sure that they're here today. Is that correct? Would that be fair to say? I mean,
That would be fair.
okay, all right. Mr. Lee, you've been sworn in this matter, and do you have any exhibits that you want to give? We have a copy of your complaint, okay, and whatever exhibits you have, why don't you give us, and we can make you copies of after the hearing.
I have 3 copies.
Oh, you do? Okay. Well, why don't
3
you-
copies of what
Okay, fine.
The first is when I received the response from the city of Derby, from Walt Mayhew, I wrote him an email, and the email that I wrote him, I wanted to put into the record.
Okay, okay, you have okay. Well, how about, okay, Mr. Lee, do you have a copy of your FOI request? How about that
I
first?
believe that's.
Oh, is that, do we have that?
This would be the request of the initial response.
Okay, would that be Exhibit A then, or?
Yes.
Okay, why don't we mark that, and we're gonna have a little flow here, okay?
Oh, I understand.
Yeah, and then from this, Mr. Lee, I take it you got a response back from,
And that's in
that's a $720
Yep.
something. Okay, all right, so you got that, and then
that was my response to him.
this is, okay, so this would be, I guess, probably Exhibit C now? Attorney Munn?
So I have as Exhibit A,
A.
the request and the response, which
Okay.
included the quote.
All right, I got it, okay. So this would be Exhibit B. Hearing no objection, we'll have this, this next one.
So what is this? This is
When I received the response with regards to my FOI request, this is the response that I wrote back to Walt May, who was the person who sent me the bill for $720 and said they wouldn't provide anything until that was paid.
okay. So this is a March 27th, 2023 email from complainant to Walt Mayhew.
Yes.
Okay.
This is his response back to me on the same day. Three copies,
Okay.
2 pages, that's why.
Okay, I got it.
Didn't staple them in case
All right.
you need to have it that way.
Okay. So this would be complainant's exhibit C. Yeah.
Those are the exhibits, all your exhibits at this point in time?
Yes, it is.
Okay. May I just ask you a question? And
We didn't swear to repeat it.
we did,
Yeah,
yeah.
you
Yeah,
Oh, we completed that? Oh, okay.
yeah,
That's part of the first part of the hearing.
yeah. Okay, so, just one question, Mr. Lee. Have you ever made FOI requests of Derby in the past?
I have not.
You have not, okay. Have you ever made any requests of any other place in Connecticut? That you know, that you can recall?
Well, let me
Well, I mean, if you can
just tell you a
recall.
little bit about myself.
Well, no, just please just answer that question. Did you ever ask for an FOI from anybody, I mean?
I believe I have.
Okay, were you ever charged $720 for an FOI request?
Not at all.
Okay, all right, all right. So anyway, why don't you give me a short narrative? I mean, they're not going to be here, and what's going to happen is, we have your exhibits.
Well, I'd like to talk a little bit about
Absolutely.
the situation.
Yep.
If Walt Mayhew was here today, or the mayor, or even the attorney, I would have started by asking them, what their experience has been. How long have they been in the positions that they have? Have they dealt with FOI requests before? That would be number one. Number two is that it appears, it's pretty obvious from the record that Walt Mayhew, immediately upon receiving the FOI request, contacted the attorney. And generally, my experience has been with FOI requests, if there's a question that you send to your attorney, it's whether these types of documents are disclosable. You don't, I would have asked, Walt or the mayor, whether they were familiar with the Freedom of Information, Act, and those kinds of things.
We're going to put you on hold just for a second. Yes, what? We're in the middle of a hearing. Attorney Monomy.
Yeah.
No, we're in the middle of the hearing. Okay. Can I ask you, so basically, I know it's already written down, but basically what were you asking for?
I was asking for information. Well, let me give you a little bit of background. The city of Derby was looking to, they had gone out to bid for a software package for financials, tax collection, assessments, those kinds of things. They did it, in my opinion, they advertised it on their webpage only. They didn't put it on the DAS website or anything along those lines. They didn't even tell their existing vendor that they were going out to bid. And not surprisingly, they only got one bid from the vendor they had been working with to put the whole, quote, the request for proposal together. They took it to the aldermen and tried to sell to them that they went out to bid and that they were recommending that they go with QDS, this company called QDS, Quality Data Systems. And I gave a presentation at a meeting right before this FOI request. I listened in on the meeting, the alderman's meeting, and the alderman ended up voting not to accept a proposal. In fact, to stay with the existing vendor that they've been with for 30 years, a company called Gemini. It used to be R. Walsh Associates, now it's Gemini. Voted, I think the vote was like 6-1 or 7-2, something along those lines. Shortly, as part of that meeting, it was clear that they were telling, from my perspective, they weren't telling the truth about the software that was provided by Gemini. They were kind of lying about its capabilities and its problems. And from my perspective, I thought it was important to get some background information about how much have they had this discussion about QDS in advance. What is it? What proposals did they have? What was some of the information that went back and forth? Because it was, it was sketchy. So basically, I was looking for information about how this whole proposal got developed. What was some of the background, back and forth information between QDS and the staff? What type of emails did they go back and forth? How did they come up with the proposal? How did they decide how it was going to be bid? Why did they keep it a secret from my perspective? And even the alderman question, how come you didn't, you only advertised it on our local website? How come you didn't tell the existing vendor that was going out? Those kinds of things. So I was basically asking for that background information.
Okay. And I'm sorry that I interrupted you. What else did you want to testify about?
Oh, okay. Well, I was answering your question.
No, that's fine. I interrupted you. I know.
And that's fine. You can interrupt me anytime.
Yeah. Okay. They're not here, but and they may move to reopen this. But from what I see is you asked for something. They did not. They responded by sending you something that said $720.
Very vague proposal, by the way. I mean, my question would have been, what is Apex? What were they actually going to do? I mean, the proposal says an Apex engineer will perform the archive retrieval requested by the city of Derby. Now, I don't know what the city of Derby requested them to do. I mean, I asked for hard copies of things. Were they going to come in and go actually into the file room and pull out hard copies?
Well, I believe you had to ask for emails.
I asked. Well, no, I did ask for emails. I did ask for emails.
No, I'm sorry. Did you ask for the documents to be sent to you via email as opposed to hard copies?
Let me see what I said.
Yeah. I don't. I read it, but I don't recall. I think you said you can send this information to me electronically.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you didn't necessarily need a hard copy of it to hold in your hand.
Right.
Right. Okay. Fine.
And in fact, I would have come in and inspected it myself if they said you'd come in and inspect the files yourself. So it's clear. It was relatively clear to me by turning it over to the attorney. I was surprised that the attorney just didn't say, "Hey, it's disclosable information. Why don't you just give it to him?" I mean, that's what I'm. And so then I get this bill that says they're going to do something that I'm not even sure what they're going to do. It sounds as if they were going to go in and maybe go through the emails and try to find them, but I believe they have Outlook. I've dealt with Outlook for 40 years. Well, probably not 40, but but I don't know why you can't go in there and search it yourself. I mean, you put in quality data systems. You can put in names, and it's relatively easy to retrieve this information. Why they had to go with an outside firm seemed very suspicious to me. It seemed clear to me, because this was somewhat of a controversial subject, that they were just looking to delay this. They didn't want to give me the information. And one way to do that is to screen it off to the attorney and say, and Walt Mayhew was clear to me, well, I'm just doing what the attorney told me to do. I wanted to ask the attorney, if he was here, what type of conversation did you have with Walt Mayhew? Why did you give him this advice? I mean, why did you tell him to get a quote? I mean, did Walt say that he didn't have the capabilities of, I wouldn't feed it to him. I would be interested to see if they had an advanced discussion with regards to that. Why did he give them that advice? Those kinds of things. Now, the alderman had a meeting in May, a follow-up meeting, and where this subject came up again. And I listened in on that meeting as well. And the alderman voted. There was a controversy about their charter. And the attorney was telling them that they had the ability to, that they had a finance committee made up of 2 people and that they review bids and they signed off on the bid and that they were going forward with it. And the alderman said, well, wait a second. The charter also says that we approve these types of things. You've always brought these things to us in the past. And so if you could have done it yourself, why did you bring it to us? We told you no. And so they had a discussion back and forth. And finally, the aldermen voted unanimously at that meeting to continue the contract with Gemini beginning July 1st. So the aldermen voted on it twice, the legislative body of the town, the elected leaders of the town, to stay with the existing vendor, but yet they went forward and signed a contract with QDS and did the changeover. I will point out that the city of Derby, and I'm not sure how familiar you are with the city of Derby, but they're currently under the municipal finance audit committee for issues they have with their budget and their audits. And yesterday, that committee voted that they should go formally to the board, that they should go from a voluntary to a mandatory because of they're not making good decisions in Derby. But anyhow, I was going to ask questions like,
Well, yeah, that's fine. I mean,
I think you're getting a flavor for it.
Yeah, I mean, we have what we would have asked also, but, they're not there. I mean, Attorney Munn, do you have any questions of Mr. Lee or?
I just wanted to go through, if you could take the Exhibit A, because I just want to, so the record's clear on what the request was and what their response was, because so if you just look through, just want to confirm, so that's what's marked as your complaint to the commission that contains the request, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to go through, if you could just
Well, it says any and all correspondence, including but not limited to letters, proposals, emails, text messages, etc., between Quality Data employees and/or representatives of same, so people from Quality Data, and Derby staff, and specific Derby staff being Mayor Richard DeZekin, Walter Mayhew, Jamie Wilson, and Nancy Balses, from January 1st, 2022 until March 15th, 2023.
So just so we're
That was
clear,
one.
The first page, if you look at the first page of Exhibit A, where it
Yes.
says Robert Lee to R. Zekin, and
Yes.
it's Wednesday, March 15th.
Yes.
That's the start of your request?
Yes.
Okay. And then if you go to the second page.
Yep. Do you want me to read 2 and 3?
No, you don't need to read it, but just so we're clear, where it says Walt Mayhew to me, John, Thursday, March 23rd, that's
Yes. That's his response.
the city's response.
Yep.
And then the
quote.
if you turn to the last page, can you just explain what that is?
You're talking about the apex or the one behind it?
The quote.
The apex quote
Right.
dated 3/21/23.
Right.
That's from the respondents, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when did you receive that?
I received that when I got the response from Mr. Mayhew, which was I got that on March 23rd.
Okay. Thank you. Good.
Because you could see where it says in the March 23rd email, the quote is attached.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Like I said, just wanted to, so the record was clear on what exactly the request was and what the response was. Thank you. And so other than this response that's Exhibit A and the response in Exhibit C, have you heard anything else from the city?
Not at all. Crickets.
I don't agree.
Okay. What we're going to do, Mr. Lee, we've heard, enough to, I believe, formulate a decision in this matter. It's going to be a proposed decision. And in that, you're going to get a copy, and at the same time, the respondent's going to get a copy. You can comment on it if you want prior to the full Freedom of Information Commission meeting. That'll probably be in about a month and a half, the way things go. So if you're going to comment on it, get the proposed decision. If you want to comment on it, you can, but make sure you send a copy to the other side, to the respondents, counsel. Okay, and they have to send it to you also.
Do I have to send it certified?
No, it's just sent by regular mail. All right.
Doesn't work certified apparently, but yeah.
I don't know. But, you know, we'll, no, just, and just say that you certify it underneath by saying, I hereby certify that I sent it.
Yes.
Okay? And that's it, right?
Yeah, I don't have anything.
Okay, we're gonna close
I
out.
have one other item before you
Oh,
close.
sure, please.
I'm seeking sanctions. I'm asking for sanctions against the city of Derby. I believe that this was a deliberate attempt to delay giving information. The information now is somewhat moot as far as the issue is concerned, although I still want to see it. But I believe that their non-response, they're not coming to the, they made no attempt to resolve this issue. They didn't contact me at once and say, hey, I said I was asking for written stuff too. And, I mean, why they just stonewalled it. And I think that I am aware that they have another FOI request or an FOI complaint against them that I believe went back to December of 2022 from a person who may be on the phone right now, which was an elected person on the tax board. And their response to her. I'm just saying that I believe that they wanted to charge her $2,000 for information.
Why was this?
So I'm looking for them to.
In terms of your request for sanctions, why was this information important to you? This information that you requested, why was it important to you? The information that you requested.
No, I know what you're asking. My sister-in-law owns Gemini, and they lost the contract. And I believe that this information could show that the staff, the mayor, and specifically Walt Mayhew, did some underhanded things that they shouldn't have done. And I believe that they were trying to hide that.
So the information would have been of importance to you. Is that correct? If you received it in time?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else, Attorney Munn?
The only thing for the request for civil penalty is if it wasn't requested in the complaint, we can still consider it, but we'd have to give
them a chance.
We'd have to give the respondents notice that it's being considered and an opportunity to respond to that specific allegation.
All right.
Well, that's okay. When I read the information that was sent to me, it didn't seem to suggest that I needed to say in advance that I was seeking sanctions.
Okay.
It's just under the statute. The statute requires that we get that the person against whom the sanctions are sought be given notice.
Oh, I understand that.
Response.
Okay.
So,
So,
I understand.
yeah. All right. So,
of course, I would.
So they're going
Because
to.
if they were here, they would have got notice, right?
Well, they're going to have to have a chance to respond then to that, correct?
Correct.
So we can send out notice for them to respond. I don't know, because usually, I mean, if you, my experience is that if you came to the hearing, the full commission hearing and asked for it, we would tell you no, that you're late.
Right.
Okay, here, you didn't request it in the document, okay, but if they were here, they would have received notice of it now. They could have responded. But since they're not here, they can't respond. So we're going to give them a chance to respond, Attorney Munn?
If we're going to consider civil penalty and you still want us to consider one, we would have to give the respondents notice and an opportunity to respond. So we'd have to invite them back to another hearing.
But the hearing officer yourself can also recommend penalties as well.
Well, I'd want to hear from them.
Under the statute.
Yeah, I mean, I'd want to hear from them. It's up to like $1,000 or something. I mean, I don't, it's something we'd have to consider, but we'd have to have probably another hearing. That's the thing. I don't know if you want to just.
Well, why wouldn't you consider civil penalties based on this
Because
record?
I would want to hear from them in all due fairness. Okay, rather than just find them, I want to hear from them as to why they did not comply in any regard, other than sending you the $720 bill.
Right. Would you consider that sending me a $720 bill that was somewhat vague about what they'd actually do, something that's responsive to my request?
We're on the record, so I'm not really going to get into.
Historically, has that worked in other hearings then? Not specific to this one?
I think historically, the Freedom of Information Commission sparingly uses a penalty, okay? One. Number two is they would vote on it, the full commission would vote on it, okay? Number three is they would ask me as a hearing officer what opportunity I had for them to be heard, okay? And I would have to have another hearing for them to be heard, okay? You know, part of the order, a prospective order would be for them to give you the documents, okay? I mean, that is part of a prospective
Yes.
order, and they could be admonished for not being here and, you know, things like that, okay, rather than just giving them the penalty, which you don't even get anyway, okay?
No, I know, I understand.
You know,
that part.
so I don't know how far down the road you want to go. You know, whether you want a hearing that's done with a discussion of the civil penalty, but no incurring of a civil penalty, okay? I'm just saying, you know, you live in Palm Beach.
Palm Coast,
Palm,
just for the record.
yeah, whatever.
Somebody else more important lives in Palm Beach.
Okay, all right. But I mean, I don't know, Mr. Lee. I don't know what to tell you. You know, if you'd have to come back here, I mean, by the time we had a hearing, you're going to be back on Palm Coast.
Well,
Okay, so what I'm trying.
I'm going back to Palm Coast at the end of September.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what the scheduling is. I mean, this is 6 months to get here, right? Something like that. So I don't know what, you know, I can't advise you as to anything, but, you know, if you want the civil penalty to proceed with it, okay, they're gonna be listening to what we're saying today. Okay, they're gonna go back and listen, and they're gonna probably try to reopen this matter, so that you have to come back anyway if they're successful in having it reopened. Okay, and that's why we're trying to make a record. So as to a civil penalty, we're probably gonna have to have another hearing. Okay, and it may be 6 months down the road, and at the maximum fine, you're not even gonna get it. Okay, as it looks now, they're not here. They sent you something that said $720. Okay, I've been a FOI commissioner for 10 years. I've been an attorney since 1984. I kind of got the lay of the land here. Okay, so you know I don't want to forecast too much what's going to be said. Okay, but if you understand what I'm telling you, you know.
I will not insist on civil penalty.
Okay, but you brought up the issue. It was discussed. The parameters of a civil penalty were in fact discussed. And had the respondent actually been here, it would have been fully discussed with them here. Okay, I'll tell you that.
Maybe another reason why they're not here.
I'm not going to speculate, sir. Okay, anything else?
I don't have anything further.
Okay, we're going to go off the record. Okay, and we're done. Okay, we're off the record at 11:47.